Welcome back, everybody. How I did a garage today. Title says it all. Let's get to it. I'll go ahead and lube the cables up. This right here is to clean the chain. This is to check the slack. This is to make sure you get your wheel back straight whenever you loosen it up. This is for the chain adjustment where your wheel is. 15/16 for the nut. 17 millimeters also for the other side of the nut. And these are just some extra tools just in case. Probably need some Allen wrenches to get the covers off. Lever, how to lube it up. Once you remove the nut from underneath it, you can go ahead and pull this out. Then you can pull your lever out. You loosen up your adjuster. Pull it up. Slide it out. Now we're ready for this. This is the Motion Pro cable lube. So pretty much, as you see, it's slit right here. It's closed on this side. Open on this. It's a spot to go right here. You'll put this in here, slide it up until it catches, until it closes up. Once you have this closed up, you go ahead and get you some towels or a rag and put it underneath there because it's going to drip out a little bit. Then you can get the chain lube of your choice. This is what I got just because it's cheaper and I think it'll work just as fine as the others. There's an open right here in that rubber boot. You'll slide your tip into there. At the same time, if you want to try to go down there to where your clutch is and kind of work it back and forth or try to pull it right here, it might be kind of hard to pull it right here, but help work it in there. Clean your mess up. I'll put lube on this boat. This is where the lever rides on. You don't have to. I'm just doing it. Makes me feel better. Your clutch adjustment, how tight or loose you need it to be, this is what the Kawasaki Bible says. 2 to 3 millimeters on C right here, which is right here in this gap. So what you do is you get you a 2 millimeter and 3 millimeter, pull it up, barely push down on it. Don't push down on it too hard because that'll actually pull the clutch. So you just want to just barely budge on it, tap it, and make sure you can fit at least a 2 millimeter, which I can't. So you'll loosen up this lock nut right here. Once you loosen this up, you'll go in and make it tighter or looser, nug that back up. Make sure you can get that in there. Now it's loose. Get your 3 millimeter. For me to get this in there, I can see the lever moving just a little bit. So that's good. 2 mil is big or loose. 2 mil is loose. And a 3 mil budges it just a little bit. You're golden. I'm going to be using WD-40 to help clean the chain and get all the gunky wax off. Chain lube, I'm going to use this Lucas chain lube. Hopefully it won't be as waxy as previous stuff that I've used. I know. You've probably done heard before WD-40 will eat away at your O-rings in your chain, but honestly, I think it's on my nuke. It ain't really going to matter. You know, if this was a brand new chain, I wouldn't use WD-40, but I've got almost 10K on this. Plus, it's so waxy, as you can see right here. That shouldn't be like that. That should be just straight. That's because it's just waxy. I'm going to use the WD-40 to creep down in there and hopefully clean all that gunk out. So I've already got the boat loosened up, the chain loose, the chain guard off, and the sprocket cover off. Of course, to get slack in the chain, you'll get your 14 and 12 millimeter loosened up piece adjuster bolts right here. 17 millimeter on this side, 15/16 on this side after you pull the pin out of it. Once you do that, you'll loosen up these bolts and be able to slide that forward and get slack in your chain to check it. Of course, take the guard off. You gotta loosen the bolt here. There's another bolt over there, and it pops up. I didn't have to take this off, but I did because it was so gunky in here. I wanted to take it off and clean it and inspect this sprocket also. Put a picture of it here of what it looked like. So I've done got it cleaned up for the most part, but to clean it up, get you some cardboard, put back here like this. Get your WD-40 or whatever cleaning agent you're going to use. Spray it on there while spinning it to get it all worked in. Get your brush, put it on there, clean it on the top and bottom. After you clean it with the brush, get you a towel of some sort and clean off all the cleaning agent that you used. Spin it and clean it off real good. Right now it's still has some on there, but it's pretty much dry. Now you can get your cleaning agent, spray it on there, or get your chain lube. This Lucas chain lube, I like it a lot. It foams up and then it acts like it just penetrates down in there, kind of like how PD Blast does. If you've ever used it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It kind of looks like it foams up and then it just seeps down in all the cracks. And that's really what you need right here to kind of get through the O-rings and all the cracks and crevices. Spin it a couple times, let it work itself in. And me, I like to overdo it. I mean, this is way too much. It's just dripping off. But I like to do that to make sure it gets all soaked in. And then I get a towel and clean up the access. Because you don't want to just keep all this stuff on there, you know. If not, it's just going to sling everywhere and make a big mess. So you just, once you get done with that, you take the towel and clean it up. You're still probably going to have some that slings off. But that would also be a good time to lube your kickstand if you wanted to. Now when it comes for checking for wear in your chain, I'll add another video right here of another chain that I had on the R6. So just to demonstrate what chain wear is and how to find it, or what to look for, this is a chain off my old R6 I did. Done a sprocket change on it. And I replaced the chain on it, of course, because this was bad, but you stretch it out, and on one side of the chain you just hold it still, about this far apart or more or whatever, and you just pull it back and forth. You see it stretching and compressing. That's a bad chain. You shouldn't be able to do that. A lot of times if you can bend it like that really bad, that means a lot of wear too, but some chains is designed differently, so. But the best way is just stretch it out and make sure it don't fold up on you. But with it on the bike, a good indicator that your chain might be bad or at least really dirty is if it's kinking up and not going back to its position. It's just kind of kinked up. And the stretch, which this has a little bit from what I can feel. So it's probably getting close to time to change. Without it out and stretched out, it's kind of hard to tell. You'd probably be able to put something underneath here, like a 2x4 or something, and then you'll be able to squeeze it back and forth and see if it's stretched or not. I think this one's going to be alright for now, but I'll probably end up getting a new one and replacing it out. The reason why checking your chain and making sure it's not stretched and properly maintained is so important. If you see here, whenever the chain starts going onto the teeth on the gear, it's going right in between or right into the chain perfect. It's not trying to ride on top of it. Whenever it starts to stretch, it makes it a little bit further back, and the chain will start trying to go right on top of it instead of the teeth going in between it, which causes wear. Alright, now we're at this part. How this works is that this will go over your chain will go in here, this will go on the back side of your sprocket, then you'll tighten this up on the front side. Then you're supposed to look down through here and line this up with your chain to your front sprocket. So you loosen this up, set it down in there, tighten it up, and then this will be parallel with your wheel. Then you use that needle or this rod to go with your chain. Pretty self-explanatory, but it does make a big difference. So now you can pull back on it. Go ahead and tighten up these. Do the other side. Starting off, of course, you'll just tighten up the 14mm bolt. And that will help you, on each side will help get it straight. Right now it's facing towards the right side of the bike. So if I tighten up this side, which is this side, it will bring it straight because it's bringing this side out. And if it starts to get too tight on your chain, you might have to loosen up the other side to bring the wheel forward. This is a tedious process. It takes some time, but It's not that hard to do. It just takes a little bit of patience. And this tool right here, and you can get it done. You have to loosen one side or the other up, hit the back of it to move it forward so it's all the way up against your bolts. So you really don't want to look at it up here because it will deceive you right there. It looks straight-ish. It does look like it's going this way because it is, but it don't look like it's real far off. But if you get down here, you can see it's really off. So right up there, right up here is where you're trying to line it up with. Make sure it's straight all the way down. So now once you believe you got it straight, tighten up your lock nut so it don't move on you while you're checking the slack of the chain. Having the guards off on the front and back does help out because you have a clear view all the way down to the sprocket. Now for chain slack. If you bought this bike brand new, most likely they gave you a manual with it. For mine, 2018, go to page 118, and it tells you what it is right here. Slack should be between 20 and 30 millimeters. If you have a different model, if it's a 400, it should be the same. Most bikes is around this range anyways. But for this one, 2018 400, this is definitely what it is, by the Kawasaki Bible. Check the slack in your chain. You want to get it down on the stand. Put it in first gear. Rock it back and hold it. Set it down. That's going to get tension right here and allow your slack to be at the bottom so you can measure it accurately. This is what we're going to use to measure it. You'll put this inside the chain, this at the bottom of your swing arm. You'll go up to check the top, kind of like it's indicated right here. Then whenever you go down till it goes, can't go no more, there's your slack right there. So you put it in there, around where this is, in the middle. Hold this part up against the bottom of your swing arm, push all the way up, hold it up against the frame, go down, and that's going to be what it is. And of course mine's way too high, mine's low. So now, this is probably going to happen. You're probably going to have to do this a couple times to get it right. With this being too loose, at this point where you know it's straight, you loosen up your lock nut, and you screw this side in a quarter of a turn, screw that side in a quarter of a turn on both sides the same. Try to keep it as straight as possible. Double check it, make sure it's straight, tighten up your lock nut, and then recheck it. Now once you get it on the ground and you ride it, you want to bring it back and double check it again, because once you start riding, it could loosen up or tighten up. So after you do all this, or after you adjust your chain, you want to check the slack in it. While you're riding, you want to check it every 5,000 or 500 miles or so anyway. So now it's time to make sure these are good and tight where they're at. Tighten these up. The torque spec for your nut on the rear is 72 foot-pounds or 98 newton meters. For this, I'm going to pull out the good old trusty snap-on. Unfortunately, this is an inch-pound, so I'm going to have to convert it, which is no big deal because there's 12 inches in a foot. So the only thing you got to do is a little bit of math, and you'll have your setting. So it is 864 inches. Go ahead and put it on 870. Find the hole for the cotter pin. Once you get it inserted, spread the bottom up so it can't come back out. Alright everybody, that's going to wrap this video up. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something, hope it helped you out. So, till next time.